I'm going to start recording. Okay. So, like I said, my name is Bill Morrill. I'm the Assistant Director here in the Office of Academic Advising, and we're excited to have you join us today for this orientation session via Skype. Today we are going to be talking about your academics, your academic team, understanding your degree requirements, college knowledge. We're going to be giving you a good overview of what's going on, what's going to happen when you get here to the University of Oregon. We are going to give you a good overview of the full 4 years here at U of O, but really between this session and your one-on-one advising appointment, we're really going to focus and want you to focus on the first 10 weeks of fall quarter. So fall quarter, first 10 weeks of your academic time here at University of Oregon. After this workshop, you're going to get an email from either myself or one of our partners from departments across campus inviting you to a one-on-one advising appointment. In that email, you will you'll either schedule an appointment with them, or some of them, like if it comes from me, I'll send you a link where you can choose a time that works the best for you to meet with your advisor. You'll attend your advising session. You'll then register for classes. So once you're done meeting with your advisor will help you figure out what classes are the best, and then you'll start registering for those classes. And then you're going to have your off-site introduction in either Hawaii, Chicago, or Washington, D.C., and you'll have many sessions there as well. So one more time right before we get started. If you've just logged in, if you could click on the instant message icon that's in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, and then type in your full name if you haven't done that. We just want to make sure everybody can do that. We just want to make sure we get everybody's name. So let's go ahead and get started. So I mentioned in the email about the advising workbook. You can download the advising workbook at our webpage. If you go to advising.uoregon.edu, you'll see the advising workbook. And if you just click on that image, you'll be able to get the workbook. You're going to get a copy of that workbook at your session in either Honolulu, Chicago, or DC. But this would be good to have you kind of take a look at while you're going along. Not right now, but before, when you meet with your advisor, if you've taken a look at it. So check that out. Go to advising.uoregon.edu, click on resources, and that will take you to the book. Okay, so I've introduced myself. Let's get some introductions from you. So in the little chat box here, what are some of the things that excite you about studying at the University of Oregon? What are you looking forward to? I'm going to give you a second to type some things there. Ultimate Frisbee, very big here in Eugene. It's wonderful. Food, good food here in Eugene, I will have to say that. Sports, social aspect, making new friends. Sports, being part of a community. Thank you for saying acrobatics and tumbling. I love that. Everybody go see acrobatics and tumbling. They are amazing. What these women do is just amazing. Go see them. Moving to the other side of the country, exactly. Greek life, sports again, new part of the country. These are all great. Just some new, really starting new, a lot of people are saying. So that's wonderful. You can get all of those here at the University of Oregon. You can really try so many different things. We are a large university, but at the same time, we're not huge. You won't get lost at the University of Oregon. But we're large enough to have everything that you need. So now let me know, what are some of your challenges or concerns? What might you be worried about? What things might be coming up that you're not so sure about? What are some of those things? Once again, moving across the country, being homesick, yeah, most definitely. Big classes, let me talk about that really quick. Um, we do have some large classes. One of our classrooms seats 500 students. But the good thing is we have a lot of small classes. You will have small classes your first term here at University of Oregon. So there will be some large ones, but there will be some small ones. Affording it, definitely, that's something that we think about all the time, especially most everybody in this group is an out-of-state student, and it's expensive. And so that's where advisors like Megan and myself come along. And our goal is to help you get through the University of Oregon as what I like to say efficiently as possible, which for me means cheaply as possible. I've got a daughter who's a junior here at University of Oregon, and my youngest is going to be a senior in high school and going to college in a year. And so definitely understand the cost. Getting lost in the first couple of weeks, yep, that's something. But it probably won't happen. Once you get here to U of O, you'll realize that we're not a huge campus. We're pretty compact, and it's hard to get lost. But I'll explain in a minute how I know you won't get lost. Being away from friends and family, being on your own, getting used to college life and academics, all huge. And Sally, I like that one. Making big decisions. This is you've all made big decisions in your life up until now, but really now is when you start to kind of feel you're making those huge decisions. But the good thing is you're not alone in any of those areas, because we have what we call your academic team here at the University of Oregon. And your academic team is built up of advisors and support personnel and housing, and you name it. We have people here to support you through your academic process. For those of you who are exploring majors, the Office of Academic Advising, we're your academic advisors. If you have a declared major, then it will be in your academic department. We've got the Accessible Education Center, Pathways, Services for Student Athletes, Health Professions. We've got Center for Multicultural Academic Excellence, which really you'll hear more called CMAE or CMA. So what I want you to take from all this introduction is really to remember one thing is you don't have to do this alone. We are here to support you and to be part of your team. I like a team better than coach. I'm not your coach. I don't want to tell you what to do. Right behind the camera on my board right there, it says, I advise, you decide. That's what we do. We're here to assist you, and then you make those decisions, but we're going to give you all the information you need to make the correct decision for you, because no one decision is right. And I've already talked about what the role of advising is. I do this every time. The role of advising, we're here to support you. Okay, so one thing I want you to know before we get going here is check your University of Oregon email regularly. And by regularly, I mean daily. I want you to check your UO email every day. And that's really going to start from right now until you graduate. You can have it bounce over to a Gmail or a Yahoo or whatever you have, but check it regularly, because all your communication with the University of Oregon is going to come through your UO email. Your bills are going to come there, your financial aid information. If we want to meet with you, it's going to come through there. So check your email regularly. And I just want to mention one last time, if you just got signed in a few minutes late, if you could click on the IM, the instant message icon in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, and just sign in there. Just type your full name if you would. And any questions you have as we're going along, go ahead and type it in there as well. Okay, EAB Guide. This is a wonderful tool that you can download either through your Play Store or the Apple Store. It will help you get connected to the University of Oregon. There'll be information about what's going on, deadlines that are coming up. You can create an appointment with your advisor on campus. It will remind you about your appointments with your advisor. So it's a great way to get connected to the University of Oregon. So download, just search for EAB Guide in either the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store, and EAB Guide, and download it. It's free and easy to use. Okay, now we're going to get into understanding University of Oregon, understanding your degree. Here at the University of Oregon, you need 180 total credits to graduate. We have some students in the group that are thinking architecture, interior architecture. That's a little bit more. It's around 225 credits, 235 credits. It's a 5-year program, so that's why more credits. But most students, 180 total credits. We want you to average 15 credits per term, and that's going to get you 45 credits per year. If you average 15 credits per term, 45 credits per year, you will graduate in 4 years. And so that's what we want to help you work through, is graduating as efficiently, as quickly, cheaply, and getting everything you want out of the university. So we look at this little chart over on this side. Breaks down what you're going to do over the next 4 years. You're going to take major classes, you're going to do general education classes, and then some elective classes. And each one of those, starting out, is about 60 credits. And so you'll do 60 major credits, 60 gen ed credits, and 60 elective credits. We're going to break each one of those down a little bit more. We're going to start off with general education, the breadth of study. We're a liberal arts university, and so general education is giving you that breadth, that broad base of knowledge. So broken down into a number of different areas, writing, second language groups. We're going to talk about writing first. At the University of Oregon, all students take 2 writing classes, Writing 121, and then either 122 or 123. You need to take Writing well, you don't need to, but I want you to take Writing 121 sometime during your first year at the University of Oregon. I would like you to finish Writing 121 by next June. You do not need to take it fall quarter. It's not a required class to take fall quarter. We don't have enough seats for every student coming in to take it during fall quarter. So don't worry about taking Writing 121 in the fall. If you get in and you take it, that's great. If you don't take Writing 121 in the fall, take it winter or spring, and you'll be just fine. If you have AP, IB, college credit, college now, whatever it might be, if you have credit for Writing 121 and or 122 or 123, you do not need to take it again. That's where that efficiency comes in. We don't want you to take classes that you already have credit for. So, if you already have credit for Writing 121, you can start right with Writing 122 or 123. If you have credit for both Writing 121 and 122, you are done with your writing requirement at the University of Oregon. Talk with your advisor about what credits you have, and they will help you figure out what writing class will be the best for you. Okay. If you have questions, like I said, while we're going along, just type them in the chat box, and Megan will answer them, or I'll cover them if I see them. Next, general education. General education can be broken down into 2 main areas for second language and math. That's a Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science. Shane is not seeing my... We'll stop here for a second. Can everybody else see my PowerPoint presentation? Okay, Shane. And there go my lights, so now you can't even see me. There we go. Okay, so it looks like Shane might be something happening. Um, yes, because my face is not that exciting, so you need to see something else in my face, Shane. If you could, Megan, if you could maybe help Shane out a little. Shane, you may want to log off and try logging back in, see if that will help. And I won't go too fast, it'll give you time to log off. Sorry about that, Shane. Okay, so let's jump back in. Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science. Most students at the University of Oregon graduate with either a Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science. We do have a Bachelor of Architecture, Bachelor of Music, Bachelor of Education, but around, I would guess 95% of students can graduate with a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science. We're going to start off with Bachelor of Arts, which is 2 years of college level second language. So what that means is you need to have proficiency through 203 of a language. So you need to pass the 200 level, the 203 of a language to show proficiency in that language. So if you're going to study a language and you're going to study a new language, you would start with the language 101. So it's a brand new language, you just start with 101. And then you do 102, 103, 201, 202, 203. If you are wanting to study a language that you've already studied before, you definitely want to do the placement. Placements are online, so you would go through orientation to do those placements. And I want to show you here. I'm going to show you the orientation website. So you would go to IntroDUCKtion, and then you would go to Before You Arrive. And if you scroll down just a little, you'll see Take Your Placement Assessments. So right from the introduction screen, you can log in here and it will tell you about the second language placement and the math placement if you haven't done that. So take the placement and then you'll be placed into the appropriate level. So if you're wanting to do the placement for Japanese or Chinese, they have a two-part placement. It is a written placement that you will do, and then there is an oral that you'll need to do via telephone with our advisors in our East Asian Languages Department. So you'll work with your advisor to figure out what the best placement for you to be is. So you'll take either 101, a new language, or do the placement for the language that you're wanting to study. Okay, let's take a look. So, looks like Megan's taking care of the placements. Sally, I would try taking the placement again if they will let you. If not, talk to the department, talk to your advisor, and they'll get you in touch with the department that you're wanting to do the placement in. Okay, let's continue on. If you are thinking of doing one of these majors, they require that you do a language. So if you're a history major, you're going to be taking 2 years of a language. International studies, 3 years of a language. So any of these majors, you will be studying a language of some sort. So Bachelor of Arts, 2 years equivalency of a language. So you definitely, if you're thinking about a Bachelor of Arts, think about what language you may want to study. Think about if you need to do a placement for that. Okay. So now we're going to talk about Bachelor of Science real quick, which is 1 year of college level math or CIS. And CIS is computer science, computer information science, here at the University of Oregon. And so we're going to talk about that. For the Bachelor of Science, you need to have 1 year of college level math or CIS. And that is And the math classes you'll take are depending on the major that you are in. So let's start off and talk about Math 101. Math 101 is our class to get you ready to take math here at the University of Oregon. So if you place into 101, it will count towards graduation, but it doesn't count as your year of college level math or CIS. It will count as elective credit, but it will get you prepared to take the math class that you need to take. If you're going to be in the sciences, this most likely will be the area that you will go into. Math 111, algebra, Math 112, pre-trig and pre-calc and trig, and then Math 251, 252, which are the calculus classes. If you're thinking about business or economics, you're going to follow this route here. Math 111, 241 and 242, which are business calculus, and then Math 243, which is statistics. All these classes are required for the business and economics department. And so you will take a look at these, but 3 of them would get you your Bachelor of Science, and then 1 would count as a science credit, so that those classes will count. If you are thinking of doing any other major and doing a Bachelor of Science, if they don't require math, you could do any sort of combination. Let's just throw out journalism. Journalism doesn't require language. Journalism doesn't require math, but you can do a Bachelor of Science in journalism. So you could do any 3 classes from this list. You could follow this sciences list, you could follow the business and economics list, or you could choose 3 classes that you feel would help you out the most. So you're going to want to work with your advisor to see which math class might be the best math for you to take if you're going to do the Bachelor of Science. Here's a list of some majors that require math. And so we have some different ones. Some are very, like chemistry, biology, business, economics, you're going to do math. But architecture, and I saw there is a question here, architecture requires some math because they want you to take physics. Interior architecture doesn't require math specifically, but they suggest that the physics classes would be good to have. So it's a little bit different than architecture there. Interior architecture doesn't have that direct requirement, but you'll work with your advisor to see what the Bachelor of Interior Architecture requirements are. Psychology and sociology on this list, they both require 1 math class. So a lot of students within these majors end up doing the Bachelor of Science, but not all of them. So, any questions about the Bachelor of Science or Bachelor of Arts? Good question about environmental studies. Environmental studies has, I believe it's a statistics requirement. If you do environmental science, which is in the same department, they do require through calculus. So it's dependent if you do the environmental studies or the environmental science major. And your advisor will get you the exact information on both of those. Corey, there's no real difference. I'm not sure why we put math study on this slide here. It's the same. If you do a Bachelor of Science and you do not need to do a language unless your major requires it. Jordan, there is a list for requirements for all majors, and I'll show that to you in just a few minutes where you can see a list for all majors. Okay, let's go ahead and go on, and we're going to talk about groups and multicultural requirements. So groups. There are 3 groups that you will take 15 credits in. You're going to take 15 credits in arts and letters, 15 credits in social science, and 15 credits in science. Arts and letters is studying the arts and letters, not doing the art. So it will be an art history class or music appreciation class, not a ceramics class, not a piano class. It will be studying the art, not doing the art. but it could also be a film class, a literature class, a philosophy class. Social science is going to be history, economics, political science, a lot of classes within that area. And then science are going to be those classes that you would think about as science, like chemistry, biology, physics, math. What you want to definitely take a look at are those classes that not majors, but departments that might have classes in different areas. Take, for instance, psychology. Some psychology classes are science classes. Some psychology classes are social science classes. So that's why I've put this caret with the 1, caret with the 2, and caret with the 3 here. It will let you know, if you see that caret with the 1, you know that class is an arts and letters class. If you see the caret with the 2, you know it's a social science, or the 3, you know it's a science. So you can start taking a look for classes. Environmental studies, for instance, we already talked about that. They have classes that are arts and letters, they have classes that are social science, and they have classes that are science. We don't have any classes that count in each one of the areas. So students, everybody will take at least 15 credits in arts and letters, 15 credits in social science, and 15 credits in science. For multicultural, we have 3 different areas: American cultures, international cultures, and identity, pluralism, and tolerance. Out of these 3 groups, these 3 areas, you are going to take 1 class in 2 different areas. So you'll take 1 American cultures and 1 international cultures, or 1 identity, pluralism, and tolerance and 1 American cultures class. So you're going to take 1 class from 2 different areas. And Zoe, yes, there is a class, a list, and I'll show you where to get that list in just a little bit. So you'll notice I put the AC, IC, IP off here to the side. If you see that listed as well, you will know that class counts as an American cultures or international cultures class. So I want to show you this really quick. So this is the class schedule. So we're going to jump to fall. I'm going to pull up anthropology here. And so we can see right here, this Principles of Archaeology. It has the caret with the 3. That tells me right away that it is a science class. So I know right away Principles of Archaeology counts as a science group. Let's take look at this Anthropology 150, World Archaeology. It has the caret with the 2, so I know it counts as a social science class. But it also has the caret with the IC, which means that it counts as an international cultures class. So this 1 class would count for 2 different requirements. We call that double dipping. And if you happen to be an anthropology major or minor, it would count for the major as well. And so class would count for 3 different requirements. So that's where you're going to see when you search for classes or see classes, you can then tell if it counts as a group or a multicultural requirement. Okay, so any questions real quick on groups or multicultural requirements? And I'm going to take a drink here real quick. Yes, you can double dip in some areas. So if it counts for international cultures and in arts and letters, that 1 class takes care of 2 requirements. We love double dipping here at University of Oregon. I want to show you really quick where you can find the list of classes for the university of all the arts and letters, social science, science classes, as well as the multicultural classes. In your orientation workbook that you can download that I talked about earlier, you'll also get a copy when you go to your session. And we'll see if it's loaded. I believe it's page 36, so I'm just going to guess. I need to go farther. 34, 35, 36. There we go. So starting on page 36, you will find a list of all the arts and letters courses, all the social science courses. We scroll back. Here's the social science courses, all the science courses, and then right after that, the multicultural courses. So American cultures, identity, pluralism, and tolerance, and then international cultures. So as you can see, page 36 through 42, we have 6 pages of classes that count as group classes or multicultural. So you can take a look through here and see how these classes may count. This would be really good for you to do before you meet with your advisor in the next couple of days, to take a look at this list and see if there's any classes that interest you. So you can just scroll through, and as you're scrolling through, you can say, oh, this Viking class looks really cool, and just mark it. Or Norse mythology, or cultural legacies of Italy. If you're planning to travel in Italy, this is taught in English, but that might be a fun class for you to take. So you can take a look at that list. So page 36 in your handbook. Okay. So all of that was your general education, the writing, the Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, and groups, and multicultural. That's general education. Now we're going to talk about your major requirements. And the major requirements, some of you know what you're going to major in. Some of you are exploring students, which is just fine. But this next resource is helpful for everybody. So you can see what the major requirements are for all the majors. This is where you would go to see where all the requirements are. And so where you want to go is to the UO catalog. And you'll click on the majors tab. Now I'm going to do this live so you can see what it looks like. So this is the UO catalog. I love the UO catalog. It's extremely helpful. So you can take a look. And you go to catalog.uoregon.edu. So you'll go to that and you'll log in. You'll click on the majors tab. This will list all the majors at the University of Oregon. It will also tell you if you can do a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science, or maybe just a Bachelor of Arts. We have the Bachelor of Music, where is architecture, Bachelor of Architecture, Bachelor of Interior Architecture, so you can find out that information. So let's just choose a major. Let's click on biology. Click on biology, and it's going to give you information about that major. You can click and find information about their advising at the University of Oregon. You can click on the overview and find out how to go to their main page or where they're located or get their phone number. The degree plan, this is great. This isn't 100% exactly what you're going to be taking, when you're going to be taking it, but it will give you an overview of your 4 years at the University of Oregon and what classes you can expect to take at the University of Oregon. Click on undergraduate, click on Bachelor of Arts, and it will tell you all the classes that are required. Excuse me, sorry about that. Hopefully I got the microphone covered in time. So you can see all the requirements, the classes that you're going to take for that major. So this is a great resource to kind of take a look. You click on the courses tab, it will explain what the courses are and how and what you're going to be doing. So there's a lot of really good information in here. If you're thinking about a minor, you can do the same thing and see what minors we have here at the University of Oregon. And see, and you do the same thing. You click on one of the minors, and it will give you information directly about the minor at the University of Oregon. So, before you meet with your advisor, take some time to check out the UO catalog and look at the major that you're thinking about, or if you're exploring majors, just to explore what might be out there. When you meet with your advisor, if you're an exploring student, we will ask you, what are you thinking about? Even if broadly, let us know. If you're thinking, oh, something in the humanities, or something in the sciences, or I like to write, so maybe something social sciences, we're going to help you out and help you kind of narrow that down and help you figure it out. So, any questions about major? Okay, so check out the UO catalog. And then finally, electives. We've talked about breadth, that breadth of knowledge with your general education requirement, depth of knowledge within your major. And then electives kind of fill everything else in. There are a number of different ways that you can do electives, and you may have up to 60 elective credits to take. It really depends on what you're going to do. Let's say you're thinking about a second major or a minor. A second major or a minor would take up a good chunk of your elective. So you're electing to do a second major or a minor. And so you would take a look at those, and that would be great. You might use electives to explore different classes. We have study skills classes that you can take through our tutoring and learning center. You might want to take some PE, music, or art classes. I call those activity classes. They are wonderful to take. There's many different things that you can do. You could you wanted to learn how to play the guitar. You could take a guitar class. You maybe could take some art classes. PE, you name it, there's probably a PE type class. You can do like basketball and football and team sports and individual sports. You can learn to juggle. You can rock climb. You can do outdoor pursuits, outdoor survival, mountain hiking, river rafting. You want to learn to be scuba certified. You can take a class in that. There are a lot of different classes. An elective class is any class that doesn't count for a specific requirement in your major, minor, or general education requirements. But you are going to take some electives. So it's okay to take that class that you are just wanting to take because it sounds interesting and you want to learn about that. That is great. So let's see. Would you be taking, this is a question from Jesse, would you be taking extra classes on top of the normal load to receive a second major or minor? Not necessarily, and Megan just answered that perfectly. Great, thank you, Megan. So, like Megan said, it just kind of depends little in there. Most of the time, we can get you out of here in 180 credits. And Zoe, there is not a list of electives specifically because every class can count as an elective if it doesn't work for your major. General chemistry class. If you've already taken all your science credits, you're not a chemistry major or minor, you just want to take a chemistry class, that would be fine to do. It would count as an elective, and that would be just fine. So, electives. I talked earlier about some of these study skills classes. The Tutoring and Learning Center, TLC, you'll hear them called that a lot, have some great courses for 1 or 2 credits. So it might be this tests and time series, memory class, how to write better. This Money Matters is a great class. I wish I would have had that class when I was an undergrad. So there's some wonderful 1 credit, 2 credit classes that you can take to really help you be a better student at the University of Oregon. The TLC also has some great workshops throughout the year, 1-hour workshops that work with a lot of these, so you can learn about how to not procrastinate. I needed that as an undergrad. How to read a textbook better, how to read quicker, how to prepare for a test. A lot of great information through the Tutoring and Learning Center, TLC. So let's talk about the academic year. At the University of Oregon, we are a quarter school, which is very similar to if you were in trimesters in high school. We are a quarter school, and that is fall, winter, and spring, our 3 quarters, and then we have summer, which is our 4th quarter. Summer is different than fall, winter, and spring. If you're thinking about going summer, talk to your advisor about those classes. Definitely possible. Great time to take classes in the summer. They're just set up a little bit differently. So, fall, winter, and spring is a 10-week quarter. 10 weeks with an 11th week that is a finals week. So you will spend 11 weeks at the University of Oregon for every quarter that you're at the University of Oregon. During the first day of classes, the professor will hand out the syllabus. Starting in about week 2 through week 10, you'll have assignments due. You may have midterm exams. You'll have quizzes. This is when all the information will come out. It's between week 1 and 10. Finals week are when your finals will happen, and you might have a final for every single class. Other classes might just have a project due, and it will be due usually during that finals week. One thing that I like to talk about, once you register for classes, you will be able to see what your finals schedule is. You will be able to know in December, and for this year, our finals week, I'm trying to find December on my calendar. There it is. Finals week starts December 2nd and goes through December 7th. And so you will be able to look and see what your final schedule is between December 2nd and 7th. Then you can start to plan your return trip to home during winter break. You definitely don't want to plan a flight home before you've taken all your finals. I always tell my students to plan to fly home 6 to 8 hours at least after your last final. Because the last thing that you want to have happen during your final is to be there sitting worrying if you're going to make it to the airport on time. You don't need that extra stress taking a final. So plan at least 6 to 8 hours after your last final to fly home. Then you'll be set. So finals run Monday through Friday, and they're dependent on when the class is taught. So you will know your schedule right away. I will tell you now, there is not a faculty on campus that will let you take a final early because you have a plane ticket to fly home. So definitely plan your flights around your schedule. Okay, so when you go to build your fall schedule, you're going to see these different boxes: arts and letters, social science, language classes, elective classes, math classes, major classes. What you're going to do is you're going to choose 3 or 4 classes out of these boxes to build your schedule. Most students take between 15 and 17 credits. Full-time at the University of Oregon is 12 credits, but most students take 15 to 17 credits, which is 3 to 4 courses. And everybody who I'm talking to right now definitely could take 3 or 4 classes while you're here at the University of Oregon. So this is what your schedule is going to look like. It might be a writing class, it might be a language class. This student is a sociology major, so taking Soc 207. And then decided to take a biology class. This is 17 credits, definitely doable. So a schedule like that would look like this. The red is the class time. Plenty of open time to get other stuff done. This is where you need to start thinking about managing your time. You definitely can do it, but you want to plan your time out because you're going to need time to read and do practice problems. You're going to have group meetings for some of your class. You're going to want to take care of yourself and do some fun things while you're here. You might have to work. You need to eat. You need to sleep. So your week is going to get filled up with time, but if you control it, you're going to be just fine. This is a doable schedule, very manageable. So you need to start thinking now as you move forward and choosing classes, how do you do on time? What should you be changing? Maybe what habits should you be changing this summer to make yourself use a calendar more? Because if you can find that calendar system that works for you, be it on your phone or in a book or whatever it might be, you're going to hit the ground running. You're going to be just fine at the University of Oregon. Okay, so let's talk about college knowledge a little bit on DuckWeb. Everybody's been on DuckWeb. You've signed up for your orientation sessions there. I want to talk about a couple of things here on DuckWeb. The first is your transfer evaluation report. This is a list of all the classes that you've taken at other schools that you think are transferred into the University of Oregon. So if you took IB credit or AP tests or college credits through your high school, or you have some college credits, check out this transfer evaluation report to see if those classes have transferred in. We're going to skip the registration menu and degree audit for a second, jump down to the bottom where it says view placement test scores. Once you take a placement, or if you've taken a placement, you can see what your scores are there. And your advisor will take a look and you'll talk about those. Registration menu. The registration menu is where you're going to go register for classes. This is where you're going to go. So I'm going to sign into DuckWeb here real quick so you can take a look, and we're going to show you some things real quick. So mine looks a little bit different because I'm faculty here, but this is what it will look like to you. So registration menu, you're going to click on here and you're going to register for classes. What I want you to do this first time is use this link that says search for open classes. That's going to be the best way to find which classes are available. So you'll click on that link, you'll choose fall term, and then you can search for classes. So you can search by major. So let's say you want to take an anthropology class. You could search by all the anthropology classes. You can also come down to Gen Ed requirements. And let's say you are searching for an arts and letters class. You can click on this arts and letters group, click section search, and it will bring up all the open classes that count as an arts and letters. So this is a great way to search for classes. A little tip I have about this system is to not fill out every single box. The best thing to do is either search by course, by subject, or search by Gen Ed requirement. One or the other. You can, let's say you want to find all the English classes that count as arts and letters. You could do that as well. And it will show you. And here we can see it has the caret with the 1, caret with the IC or IP, and so it shows you those classes. So don't put a lot of more information in here. It might confuse the system a little. So that's how you use DuckWeb. The last thing here on DuckWeb is your degree audit, or what is now called degree guide. Your degree guide has everything you need to know to graduate from the University of Oregon. And so it has all your Gen Ed requirements on there, your major requirements, your minor requirements. This has everything you need to know about the University of Oregon. And so it's a lot of words. It's just a lot of information. Your advisor, once you get here in the fall, come meet with your advisor at least once, and we will help you learn how to read this. It's actually very simple. You can do it. It looks difficult, but we're going to give you some tips in the fall on how to do that. And talking about meeting with your advisor, I would like you to meet with you. My goal is to have you meet with your advisor once a quarter while you're here at the University of Oregon. That's 30 minutes every quarter, hour and a half a year, and you will graduate. We will help you graduate as quickly as possible and as cheaply as possible. Once we teach you how to read your degree guide, that 30-minute meeting might go down to a 10-minute meeting, because you'll come in and say, hey, here's the 4 or 5 classes I'm thinking of registering for next quarter. We'll take a look. And you now just went from an hour and a half a year down to maybe 30 minutes a year. So we're going to help you get through here as quickly as possible. So quickly we're going to talk about FIGs and ARCs, freshman interest groups, and academic residential communities. A FIG is it's actually 3 classes. It's a small college connection class with 20 students, and then there's 2 lecture classes associated with that. And those 20 students in your college connections class are in those larger lecture classes with you. And that college connection class ties those 2 classes together. So they help you kind of see the connection, and they help you figure out how to really get the most out of those classes. And so the faculty, your teacher for this college connections class, is also the professor for one of these lecture classes. So you get access to one of the top faculty on campus right when you're here at the University of Oregon. Not only do you get this academic information, FIGs also do a lot outside of the class. This picture here is a picture of Mike Urbanchik from our economics department. And he takes his students out, I think he sometimes takes them to his house and they do a barbecue. We have a couple of faculty that take their students out to the coast, or some that go down to Rogue River and go on the Rogue. There's others that go up to Portland and visit the Primate Center up in Portland. So they really kind of do some really cool things outside of the class. And so take a look at FIGs. It's a great way to build community. It's a great way to get really into the University of Oregon. Academic residential communities are very similar to FIGs, except that they have a live-in component built into them. You live in the residence hall with the 15 to 250 other participants in here. Now, you won't take the same number of classes. It might just be 1 class. It might be 2 classes. But here with the academic residential community, you will take these classes together, and it's a year long. FIGs are just 1 quarter, fall quarter only. Academic residential communities, ARCs, are year long. And so they're a great way to connect. So if you're interested in a FIG or an ARC, talk to your advisor about that, and they will get you in touch with the department and help you get registered for either the FIG or the ARC. You can take a look at the first year programs webpage, and you can take a look and see what FIGs are being offered this year. So you click for the list. Click here, it's kind of hidden. And this will give you a list of all the FIGs, if they're open, what they have. So you can click on the FIG and see what the classes are. And so this one's Theater Arts 271 and Comparative Lit. It talks about Professor Rodley and your FIG assistant. So a lot of great information about the FIGs. Same with ARCs. If you go to the housing page, you can find out information there. Okay, so I have thrown a lot of information out to you over the last 50 minutes. What I want you to remember is we are here to help you out. We are here to assist you. So, any questions? Let's take a look. There we go. FIG, like Megan said, it's just your fall quarter, 7 to 9 credits, and then you'll add some up there. Any other questions that you might have really quickly? Okay. So if you have them, go ahead and type them in. Here we go. Oh, good question, Sally. Are any reasons why a person would want to choose a BA or BS for journalism or a major that doesn't require it? I was an advisor in the journalism school for 8 years. About half of the students studied Bachelor of Arts. About half studied Bachelor of Science. My background is in language. I have a bachelor's degree in Spanish literature. I could talk about the importance of a Bachelor of Arts in language. It would bore you to death, but I could talk about it. I could turn right around and talk about the importance of a Bachelor of Science as well. So it's really what you feel you're going to get the most out of, what you enjoy the most. If you love languages and want to do that, do a Bachelor of Arts. If you want to do a Bachelor of Science, and the math and take maybe a statistics class. For like journalism, I would say a statistics class and maybe a CIS web programming class and maybe Math 105. That'd be a great list of classes for the Bachelor of Science. But maybe taking, if you're planning on studying abroad, taking 2 years of Arabic might be a great way to go. Yeah. Great. So, this really shouldn't say 45 minutes because it's probably going to be longer. But within this next day, you're going to get an email from your advisor inviting you for a one-on-one advising appointment. Follow the instructions in that email. Then you're going to have your advising appointment. Be on time to that appointment, and then as advisors, we're going to help you get started. We're either help you understand what classes you need to register, and then during that appointment and right after, you will register for those classes. Then be sure to attend the off-site introductions in Honolulu, Chicago, or Washington, D.C. You need to have registered. You need to have been here and do your one-on-one so you can attend those sites. So, looks like Megan's taking care of that. Megan and I will be here for as long as you need for the next few minutes as we're going on. So if you have any questions, stick around. If you don't have any questions, that's okay. You've got your advisor coming up. You can ask your advisor. But thank you so much for being here today. We're really excited to have everybody coming to the University of Oregon. If you're in Washington, D.C., IntroDUCKtion, come up. I'm going to be there. There's going to be advisors there. I'm going to be at Washington, D.C. Come up and say hi to me. Will Hatchett is going from our office is going to be in Chicago. And Lori Manson from our office is going to be in Honolulu. So come up, say hi to us. If you have questions at that point, we'll be there to answer any questions. So I'm excited to get to meet you either in Washington, D.C. or coming up in September here on campus. So thanks, everybody. Any questions? Megan and I will stick around for a few minutes, but thank you very much.